He only had his father, as family, who even made his life more miserable by taking more and more debts.
You be sure and show Pops my message, huh?
School bullies made things worse for him, not realizing he is hiding an unspeakable truth from them. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me.
Sweetheart, know half a dozen ways to make a guy get into an automobile.
Tommy heads out for school one morning and passes by people huddling around a fire, trying to stay warm, and some guys playing basketball. The ball bounces his way, and he nails a perfect shot into the basket. One of the guys, Leroy, the local gang leader, gets annoyed and throws some jabs, but Tommy doesn't stick around to escalate things and just walks off. Another guy named Lincoln, also part of Leroy's crew, watches the scene quietly. At school, Tommy heads to class, only to find that the three gang members he saw earlier aren't too pleased with him. They say he's taken their spot and make several attempts to bully him into moving seats. But Tommy doesn't back down. He jokes about sticking to his seat like it's permanent. Their face-off is interrupted by the teacher, who steps in, forcing Leroy to back off. Leroy threatens Tommy after class, but the teacher, who understands the struggles of kids in tough neighborhoods, uses her knowledge of literature to inspire him, saying reading can give him something to do instead of ending up in jail. Tommy impresses the class with his quick wit, and a girl named Dawn takes notice. During break, Tommy shares a cigarette with a classmate when suddenly Leroy and his crew surround him. But they back off when Lincoln's gang shows up. A fight breaks out, and one of the guys pulls a knife, leading to chaos. School guards rush in and break up the fight, dragging the expelled student away. On his way home, Tommy runs into two men claiming to be his dad's friends from bowling. He lets them in, only to discover they're debt collectors. They write down the amount his father owes, which is a lot, and leave, threatening him with violence if the debt isn't settled soon. Tommy heads to a local cafe where Dawn works the register. She offers him a job as a dishwasher, which he reluctantly accepts. The work is tough, and he gets docked money for breaking plates. Later, as he takes out the trash, he's ambushed by Leroy and his gang. But Tommy fights back, knocking two of them out cold. He's left facing one last guy. Shortcut. Their fight gets interrupted by a man who reveals he's in charge of underground boxing matches. He wants Shortcut to prepare for a big fight tomorrow. The man, Pappy Jack, later approaches Tommy in the cafe and tells him he has potential. Tommy, who's already won a tournament back home, tries to refuse, but Jack offers to pay off the debt his father owes, which convinces him to sign up. Dawn is upset to see Tommy get involved in the fight, but he's determined to do whatever it takes to help his dad. That night, Tommy's father comes home and tells Tommy he's found a new job selling medical equipment. He admits that his gambling problem only made things worse. Furious about the debt collectors, Tommy's dad calls them and threatens to deal with them himself. He promises to pay the money back and leaves, leaving Tommy to fend for himself. The next day, Tommy enters the underground boxing ring where he meets Coach Noah. Noah hands Tommy illegal weighted gloves, laughing off Tommy's concerns about fairness. In the locker room, Tommy runs into Cuban, a guy he met earlier at school. Cuban warns him about his opponent, Black Death, and gives him some fighting tips. When the fight starts, Black Death goes all out, knocking Tommy around with brutal punches, even using an illegal elbow strike. Tommy bleeds, but stays focused, launching a counterattack and pushing his opponent into the corner. He gets hit a couple of times, but refuses to back down. Finally, with a well-placed punch, Tommy knocks out Black Death, much to the crowd's excitement. After the fight, Tommy is congratulated by Pappy Jack, and Jack promises him that his payment will come from Mr. Horn, a wealthy man who is betting on the fights. At school, Tommy's classmates congratulate him on his win. Later, he goes to the gym to collect his payment, only to find that Jack has bribed the cops to keep things quiet. Mr. Horn is there too, and he's training a heavyweight boxer, teaching him that strength isn't everything, it's all about strategy. The boxer challenges the coach, and Horn easily knocks him out with a dirty trick. Impressed by Tommy, Horn offers him more fights for a good pay, but Tommy turns him down. He just wants enough money to pay off his dad's debt and get out of the fight business. Jack, clearly upset, respects Tommy's decision, but insists that the fight game is something he can't escape from. On his way out, Tommy meets Romano, who's hoping to make enough money to scatter his father's ashes back home. Tommy then bumps into Dawn, who's upset about his involvement with the gangsters. Tommy assures her it was just a one-time thing, and he's ready to quit and go back to dishwashing at the cafe. But Jack shows up, having found out about his dad's debts. He tells Tommy they're wasting their time and pushes him to get in the car. They head to Mr. Horn's, where Horn reveals he paid off Tommy's father's debts, far more than what Tommy thought it was. Tommy's got no choice but to go along with what's happening now. He accepts it, realizing there's no way out. On his way, he sees Shortcut's fighters surrounding Lincoln, threatening him with knives. Tommy steps in to help Lincoln, and together they manage to escape from their pursuers. Grateful, Lincoln opens up about his life and future, sharing that he's got a daughter and a wife to take care of, so going to school is out of the question for him. Tommy, on the other hand, still holds on to his dream of getting into university. Lincoln steps into the ring for his next fight against a heavyweight. He's quick on his feet, dodging most of the attacks, but once one connects, it's like he's been hit with a wrecking ball. Lincoln struggles to get up, but as his opponent charges at him and kicks him in the face, Tommy's the only one who reacts, furious about the unfair fight. Lincoln fights through it though, eventually winning. Tommy later learns from Noah that Horn used to be a pro boxer. He once held the world heavyweight title, but lost it after a leg injury. Even though his skills weren't the same after surgery, Horn came back for one more fight. After it, his opponent could never fight again. Tommy, in the meantime, is at home training when Dawn stops by. She's concerned about him skipping school, and Tommy explains why he's back in the fight game. This brings them closer, and their relationship starts to grow. The next few days go smoothly. Tommy hangs out with Dawn, trains with Romano and Lincoln, and keeps winning in the ring. But things get intense when Romano faces Shortcut in the next match. Shortcut's clearly outclassed, but before the 5th round, his trainer puts some kind of liquid on his gloves. He rubs it into Romano's eyes during a clinch, leaving Romano blinded and open to a brutal beating. Tommy steps in to stop it and almost chokes Shortcut out, but is pulled away. Romano ends up in a coma, and Tommy's father calls him, telling him he'll be gone for a couple more weeks. Tommy hides the truth about his situation, but his teacher at school notices his absences and tries to talk to him. "You've got a gift, Tommy, but talent alone won't get you far," the teacher says. But Tommy's more focused on Romano, who's being transferred to a hospital. The doctors say he may never recover from his injuries. Tommy starts to connect the dots, realizing that Horn and Pappy Jack set these fights up. His next match is with Shortcut, who tries the same trick with the gloves again. But this time, Tommy fights back and takes him down, hitting him with a low blow and then pounding him in the corner. He beats Shortcut senseless but stops himself before going too far. Outside, Lincoln and his family congratulate Tommy, and he even picks up Romano's daughter. The next day, Lincoln's at practice, but he's clearly hurt. He took a serious blow to the head and can't fight for a while because of the risk of a stroke. Tommy's furious when he finds out the guy he was supposed to fight is already in the ring with someone else. Instead, he's put up against Lincoln, who's risking his health because Horn promised him a career in boxing and $20,000.
Taking me pro. Madison Square Garden.
Tommy storms into Horn's office, angry. If it were up to the doctors, there wouldn't even be any boxing, he says. But Horn doesn't care, and he orders Lincoln to fight Tommy. Tommy refuses, but the bodyguards force him into the ring. Before the fight, Pappy Jack pulls Dawn from the audience and sits her next to him and Horn. The fight begins, and Lincoln charges at Tommy, but Tommy just defends himself, letting Lincoln knock him down. Lincoln's mad, but Tommy's not fighting back. Horn tries to motivate Tommy by having someone point out that Dawn's watching, so Tommy starts landing body shots. He doesn't want to hurt his friend, though, and Lincoln gets frustrated. When Tommy drops his hands and dares Lincoln to knock him out, Lincoln can't bring himself to do it. He walks off to his corner, and the crowd boos. Horn jumps in, trying to force the fight to continue, but Lincoln quits, saying he doesn't work for Horn anymore. Horn is furious and kicks Lincoln out of the ring, sending him off on a stretcher. Tommy, not done with Horn yet, challenges him to a fight. If Tommy wins, he'll be free. If he loses, he'll fight for Horn forever. Horn enters the ring without gloves, and Tommy follows suit. Horn's experienced and taunts Tommy, letting him punch himself out. Tommy's hands are breaking, and Horn mocks him, landing dirty shots to the kidneys. But Tommy's determined. He realizes Horn's weakness is his anger, so he provokes him, luring him in and landing a powerful uppercut. Horn loses his balance, and Tommy lands a series of punches. The referee starts the count, and Horn can't recover. The crowd goes wild. Tommy's learned a lot from his coach, and after the win, he rushes out of the ring to be with Dawn. Lincoln's also doing fine, and he congratulates Tommy on his big win. Later, Tommy and Dawn talk, and Tommy reflects on the choices he made.